would evolve to be the greatest country in the world. It all happened because of all you people out there listening to us. Maybe not you personally, but I'll guarantee you've all got great stories about your families and what they sacrificed to get here in the first place, be it uh, last year, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, like my Italian grandparents, 150 years ago, like my Scottish grandparents, great great grandparents. They came here for an opportunity for a level playing field. And they had it here, unlike where they came from. It wasn't possible. So they had to give up everything to come here to have a chance, not just a chance for them, but also for their children and their grandchildren and all the generations that fall after them, which include us. And it's all the same story, the story about being able to achieve their dream. Maybe it was a simple dream about just being able to own a plot of land, which they couldn't own in the old country. It was all controlled by the upper class. They just rented. They wanted to own their own home. They wanted to, do the kind of work they enjoyed doing, not the kind of work they had to do. And so, for all these reasons, and for the last 246 years, we have evolved into a country that's never been seen in the world up to this time. And we're still the largest consumers. We're still the wealthiest country. In spite of everything that's going on, which is a lot of ridiculous stuff, we're still very, very, very powerful. And we have to understand that. And the power starts with that first vote. Now, you read the book. We won't get into all the historics, but I think the most important thing that I came away with after interviewing so many people, uh, I had a radio show for 5 years, and I interviewed successful people because I wanted them to share their story, with my listeners. And it really resonated because they all told the same story I just told. They wanted to go out and achieve their dream. And most of them had a plan. They had a path they created from point A to point B as to how to get there. And the stories they told were absolutely fascinating. So I included many of those stories that I was able to draw from people on the radio show in the book, and then took all these emails I was getting from all over the world. And we all think that the American dream is strictly for Americans. I found out when my radio show was broadcast throughout the world by streaming that I was getting emails from people in Bosnia, in Russia, Australia, Africa, all over the country. And they were telling me that they wanted to know how they could achieve their American dream in their country. Because now it's not like it was 246 years ago. There's other places besides America that does allow people to, pave their own way and have their own dream. It happens in Europe. It happens in Australia, certainly, and lots of places around the country that aren't run by dictators and by people that want to control their lives. So those are the people that are embracing the American dream. And I got to tell you, when I heard those stories from people abroad, it just knocked me out that they could relate to what I thought was an indigenous concept just to us here, and finding out that not true. People all over the world, that's their dream, to be able to do anything they want in an environment, in a country that allows that to happen. And that's us, folks. We're still here doing the same thing over and over again. So it comes down to most people that I talk to. I lecture, I speak, talk to college kids. God, I love kids. The college kids are so challenging
Well,
because the college education they got and the college education I got years ago at UCLA was a lot different. We had some of the same, shall we say, different thinking professors. I can remember getting called out for asking a question in a 500 student auditorium in an economics 101 class. And I wanted to get a business degree, and I wanted to be taught by a professor that had business experience. And when this professor was going on about Keynesian theory and what's going to happen with the economy if we have a recession or a depression or whatever it might be, he was going strictly based upon books that he had read. So I raised my hand. I said, Professor, no disrespect, but did you have any personal experience in the business world by which you can share with us some of the concepts that you learned while working your way up the corporate ladder? And I knew he didn't, so I didn't want to go and say like a CEO would have done. But anyways, he was very upset after the class. He said if I ever did that again, he was going to give me an F. And I challenged him to do that. Anyway, today the kids are getting it worse. Now they're teaching them everything except what they need to hear, which is American history. They're not teaching it in the elementary schools, and they certainly aren't teaching it in college. So that's why I wanted to write this book. I wanted to give these students like me and all my friends that were appalled to hear what we were hearing at this high institute of learning that our parents were paying lots of money for, or we had scholarships for, whatever it was. And I think it's important to give people a platform, a template, something that's going to help them get from where they are right now to where they want to be. And being able to accomplish that it's not easy. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it, and they're not. But we want to let you know that there is a path that you can join with people that we know, people like us, people like a lot of you out there that already become the success that you want to be. And we applaud you for that. But we want to kind of share with you briefly some of the things that most people have in common that achieve their success. And I call it a 10-step action plan because I took, 40, 50 years of mentoring that I got from different people that I met along my path of, trying to be the best person that I wanted to be, the best version of myself, which changed considerably over the years. And I got to tell you, I made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I shot myself in the foot so many times, my feet had holes in them, I think, from all the bullet holes. But I got through that, and I was able to, keep on pushing on because I wasn't the kind of guy that gave up. My dad and my uncle didn't give up in World War II when they were out there fighting in the South Pacific and Europe. And back in those days, the military didn't serve a one-year tour. They served the tour that was either going to be successful and they were going to win, or they were going to lose. They probably wouldn't have survived. So my uncle and my dad both spent almost 5 years in the war, and their goal was simply to win the war, to beat the despots, the Japanese and the Germans. So it's all those people that came back after the war, and my God, it was just the economy was booming because all those GIs wanted to buy homes, they wanted to get jobs, they wanted to start working.
Wonderful. I just want to jump in here. This is fantastic information. I heard this. I came across this statement or phrase, and unfortunately I cannot say where I can remember where I got it from. But hard times create hard men. Hard men. I'm not talking about men versus women. I'm talking about humanity. Hard men create easy times. Easy times create soft people, individuals, and soft individuals then lead into harder life eventually. And then the hard life then becomes a cycle of its own, and then it generates, the harder men or the harder, tougher individuals. So back in the cycle, and it seems that there's cycles in the American history, but also in the history of the world.
Well, look at those. Let's talk about the World War II soldiers. That our parents were
Actually,
involved in the war.
are we on a break or?
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
I messed up.
Oh, okay. So just everyone disregard that. We're going on. Please continue.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, they grew up in the one of the worst depressions that our country has ever experienced in 1929. I mean, the market got hit so hard that wealthy guys were jumping out of hotel balconies 10 stories up because they were totally broke and they couldn't stand it. The smart guys said, hey, I'm going to figure this out and find a way to do it again. And those are the guys that prospered. The other guys, they just didn't have the stomach for it. But the guys like my dad and my uncle that survived that environment back in the 30s when the job unemployment was like 35%. Can you imagine that? Men in coats and ties were standing in line for 3 hours to get a bowl of soup. I mean, we can't even comprehend that because none of us experienced that. And I think because of that, we had the kind of soldier that was going to go out there and win the war. That's what they were going to do. Whatever it took, they were going to win the war. And I think because of that upbringing they had, that history that they had, the education they had about the founding fathers that was taught in schools, they had the grit and the motivation to win no matter what it took. Let's start with that. And every succeeding generation from there, who they sometimes, they call that the greatest generation. I have to agree it is one of the great generations, but I happen to believe that every soldier that served in any war or conflict, be it Korea, which was never declared a war, it was a United Nations conflict. It was never officially a war. Vietnam was never really a war, although a lot of our guys died over there. And going through to the Gulf War and Iraq and Afghanistan, same thing. Thousands of our veterans have fought and died to protect and preserve our way of life so that we continue to have what they fought so valiantly for. And we have to honor that. So, getting back to you folks out there, they're looking for a way to achieve your dream in an economy that's got some issues, that's for sure. But there's still lots of opportunity out there if you know how to implement the plan and be able to chase the opportunity and achieve it. So we're going to talk about a couple of things that might be of some value to you, and hopefully we'll get some questions or some comments. I always appreciate that. And I think that part of my any action plan that I take has got to start with one thing first, and that's got to be you've got to create a goal. You've got to set a platform, a timeline for yourself, whether you're 20 years old and you're going to junior college, or you're 30 years old, and you're starting on a career, or you're 60-year-old and you don't want to retire yet because you got a lot to give. You got a lot of people to teach and a lot of other people to help, and you don't want to retire. For all you folks out there, I want you to be able to benefit from this 10-step action plan, which is not what I've done necessarily. It's what I've learned and what I implemented in my own career to become as successful as I could be because of the people that helped me along the way. And now I want to help you the same way that I was mentored and helped. And I think let's talk about goals. A lot of people think about goals. What does a goal mean? It could be something as important as a little league team wanting to win a baseball game, or winning the league, or going to the Little League World Series. It can. I know my wife was a cheerleader, and they had cheerleader competition when she was cheerleading at MSU back in the day, and she wanted to win those competitions. So we all have our own idea of what a goal is. I'm talking about a life goal. I'm talking about what is it that makes you folks really happy and excited? What lights you up? What is your passion? Because once you can identify what you're passionate about, I and many people like me can sit down and show you how to monetize that if that's what you want to do. But without the passion in life, it's a lot tougher road to follow. If you're doing something you don't like, my question is why? Why would you waste your time doing something you don't like when it's so much more fun to do something you do like, that you're passionate about?
And will be successful ultimately because you're going to put the energy, you're going to follow through, and you're going to enjoy the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Who says that you had to do something you didn't like? A lot of my friends I know, their parents said, "Well, you have to follow me in the business." And so my friend said, "Well, why? I don't like what you do. I like what it provides. I respect what you've done. I love you. You're my father. But I don't think I want to do what you do. I want to do something else." And if his passion is not aligned with his dad, that's not going to work anyway. So I've had a lot of friends who've gone a different direction. They've been successful in a different business or a different, type of goal that they had, but it was the same process. And their dad ended up embracing it because they saw not just how successful they were, but how happy they were. They couldn't wait to get up in the morning every day.
And that is a part of the American dream, as a matter of fact, because happiness, health, and everything that goes with it, all the wonderful endorphins, feel good stuff, and just feeling like the life is worth it. That's why we're talking about this, folks. That's why this is so essential, is that without doing what you love, without living the life that is for you, it's a lie. It's the opposite of the truth. It's the false. And living a false life, not living your best potential, is hard. It's hard. It's hard on the soul. It's hard on the mind. It's hard on everything. We have about 1 minute before we go to break.
Let
But
me mention
yeah,
one thing about goals.
please.
I had a mentor named Og Mandino. He pastored one of the largest churches in Texas, several thousand people. He was an interesting guy. We talked about goals one day, and he told me that the victory of success is half won when one gains the habit of setting goals and then achieving them. And even the most tedious chore will become endurable as you parade through each day, convinced that every task, no matter how menial or boring it might seem to you, will bring you closer to fulfilling your dreams. I think that's a good place to have a break.
And then, perfect. When we come back, actually, this is a really good reason for everyone who is not on YouTube and Facebook Live to join us, because we're going to continue right on. And we're going to keep talking about step number 2. Uh, so if you're not yep. Okay. So if you're not, enjoying the streaming and the YouTube Live and the Facebook Live, and I understand I'm not a big fan of the media to begin with lately, but there is some content that is essential, and this, I believe, is essential because what Mr. Walt Cameron is talking about is literally the lifeline of our country. And without the lifeline of our country, how can we have physical health, mental health? How can we be holistic, holy? Well, let's. We are officially on a break.
Career to helping those living in pain
Okay.
and offering them hope. In 1971, Dr. Shealy created the concept.
All right. Well, let's continue talking, please. And please, you were finishing on step number 1,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, we'll get that, but it's important for
yeah.
them to understand the basis for it. And
Oh yeah.
if they haven't got the passion, what's the point?
Well, this is I fully agree. If and this is the same can apply in terms of. Hold on, let me just put this so that I can.
Firearm.
Fuck.
Yeah, fantastic. Same thing when it comes to my clients and patients in the practice. Holistic wellness and health. The idea is ultimately freedom. That's what we're talking about. So the freedom from my end that I can help people provide is the freedom from oppression of thought, freedom from oppression of the physical illness, and literally physical ailments, because that's not necessary. And the quick summary of what we're talking about here is there's a foundation, there's a blueprint for humanity. That blueprint, if you follow that blueprint, you will be at a place that you don't need to have problems or complications. It's just not necessary. But if you don't follow the blueprint, if you do all sorts of screwy things, it's like, for example, if you have a car that's supposed to run on a certain type of grade of the fuel, and a person just drops whatever garbage they get down in instead, like kerosene or otherwise, you're going to ruin the car. Same thing with the body, same thing with the mind, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And we're talking about physical, but there's also mental, emotional, and that is a much harder damage to control because everything starts with an operating center, the brain, the mind, energy and motion, emotions. So, by the way, I do want to say we are bugged. There's a fly
I know. Yeah.
around.
They're all over. I had one in my office, one fly in my office.
So,
and I spent a week trying to kill this son of a guy.
Well, this is in the old former Soviet. This actually
I also want to
a terrible joke, but yeah,
goals into business goals and health goals. That's
absolutely. So let's keep talking. So goals.
One without the other is pointless.
Exactly. If you don't have health, if you're not able to enjoy your life, nothing else really matters. But once you do have health, what do you really care about? What are you passionate about? So please, let's continue. Yeah. Shall we?
You're still on break for about a minute and a half.
Oh, a minute and a half. Oh, okay, got it. So we'll come back in about a minute and a half. In the meantime, I do want to make an announcement. There is a 15% off every order at realholisticdoc.com. Any order over $100, which would make it up $240 off PEMF. And this is a wonderful opportunity to stock up on everything essential, especially the essential package, which is everyone should have a good B complex, Eco Greens. Everyone should have a youth formula or an equivalent, vitamin C, MSM, raises DHEA, anti-aging, anti-stress hormone. Everyone should be on magnesium topical, and of course there's vitamin D3, and this is just the basics. So the code is July 22 for the summer sale. Again, 15% off on everything, and do enjoy and take the opportunity. It is almost time that we're coming back on the air, and I think I'm just going to let Robin do her thing. And
Yeah, about 30 seconds.
oh, 30 seconds.
Okay.
Well, what does one do for 30 seconds on the air at one time? And that's a good question.
Talk about heart surgery.
Well, by the way, Dr. Shealy did send a message to everyone to say he could not physically be here today because of an engagement, but he does want to say hello to everyone and wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful, Wellness Wednesday. So.
Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Now back to Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Norman Shealy and Dr. Sergey Leo Shealy-Sorin.
And we're back. Dr. Sergey Leo Shealy-Sorin here, and I have Mr. Walt Cameron, who we've been talking about the American dream, and the book is called Yes, the American Dream is Alive and Well. So let's continue talking until further notice. And of course, if anyone has a question for Walt or myself, the telephone number is 417-447-1777. And I just want to say that in case we're not able to get to a lot more material, because there's an unlimited amount of information here, and it's all invaluable. There is a book, and it is wonderful. And what we covered is barely scratching the surface here with the step number 1, but there's 9 other steps, and I found that fascinating, and I've been working with it in my own life, and I find it very powerful, by the way. So we'll continue on the conversation until further notice, and Robin, you let us know if somebody wants to call or ask a question, right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's talk about goals. That's really a very very important component of the American dream. And most of the people that I've talked to, that I've known, that have achieved any degree of success, always give credit to a clearly defined goal. So the question everybody always asks, well, gee, what is a clearly defined goal? Well, I think the first thing you have to do is you have to create a mental picture. You have to actually imagine what your goal will look like when you achieve it. What I did when I was, much younger, is it might be something simple, like I decided I wanted to have a sailboat because I really enjoyed sailing, and I thought that I could have a sailboat after a couple of years of implementing my goals and my business plan and be able to afford that. So the vision that I had was I had a vision of this 36-foot sailboat in my mind. I had a picture of it that I kept in my office, on my bathroom window, or mirror when I got up in the morning to brush my teeth. The first thing I saw after my wife and my kids was that picture of that boat.
It sounds like
So that was my vision. I'm not saying it has to be a boat or an airplane or something tangible. It could be a business. You have this vision of this business you're going to create. Maybe you're going to sell cars, and you want to have a car dealership. So you can picture this Ford car dealership in your imagination, and that's the vision that you're locking in on. That's a mental picture.
Yes, this is what we're talking about in visualization. This is part of biogenics, visualizing your health in various ways. It's also essential, and the human mind psyche is fascinating in that we use words, but the words are it comes from symbols, and we think and see in symbols. So if you can have a symbol that represents the thing that you value the most or you want to achieve, that's why we have vision boards. Basically every year we redesign the vision board. What do we want to accomplish in our life personally?
Absolutely. And now another example too, if you want to take a cruise to the Riviera, on a nice ship and go up and down the French Riviera and visit Cannes and Saint Tropez and all the wonderful places, and then go a little bit further, east and see Positano, which is the Italian Riviera. You could do that. So get a mental picture of that cruise.
Oh, we have a call. All right. Hi, how are you? You are on the air.
Oh my goodness.
I can't hear.
My name is
Hi.
my name is
Can we do something about the volume potentially? 1 second, please. Yeah. Yeah. I think let's try again, please. Yeah.
hello, can you hear me?
Little better. Yes, please. Hi.
My name is Jody, and I've been a long time listener,
Mm.
and I'm a relatively healthy woman of 59, but I did get struck with COVID June 25th.
Mm-hmm.
I took Paxlovid for the 5 days. I tested negative, and then I rebounded 4 days later.
Oh,
They
gotcha.
They gave then they gave me steroids for 5 days,
Yep.
3-2-2-2-1.
Mm-hmm.
That did nothing, but then I did test negative for 5 days, and through that week, I had two of the most excruciating pain through my whole body on a Sunday and Wednesday.
Mm.
And a week ago, Saturday, I ended up in the emergency room where it was 10 times as worse, and they gave me morphine, but I was dehydrated because I have had a fever and I've been drinking plenty of water, but obviously I needed, my electrolyte.
Yep. Sounds unfortunately typical for what I see in the emergency room when I work every other weekend. Yeah. I hope you're feeling better.
But I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
shoot.
still
Yeah.
extremely fatigued, and I am getting better, I guess, in terms of, like, I could make it to the chiropractor yesterday. My husband took me, so that was a huge win. But other than that, I'm pretty much will get up for a couple hours and then back in bed.
Gotcha. A couple of things. Are you local in Springfield?
No, I live in Dana Point, California.
Okay, California. California should have a couple of places where you can get intravenous vitamin C and perhaps intravenous ozone. That's basically that will jumpstart the immune system in the right direction. It will actually do a lot of good things for you. But make sure that it's at least 25 to 50 grams, not milligrams, grams of vitamin C in a Myers cocktail and intravenous ozone. That's what I would do if you were here. And
Okay.
so that's the first and foremost. I would say find out about that, and that's one of the best ways to deal with to cut the extent of this long hauler COVID type symptoms.
Mm-hmm. So no, you don't. What about your other devices or vitamins that you guys recommend there?
Yes, let's talk about a couple of things. PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field device. This is where especially the scan mode, or in other words, the first mode, as the sweep, is going to come very helpful, because that's Schumann frequency, 7.83 cycles per second in multiples, and that's basically regeneration for the cellular structure, but also for the organs and for the connections and blood flow, and that's exactly what we need. So that's the PEMF. It also can help you rest at night with the third mode, which is the delta, 0 to 3 cycles per second. Then you can plug it in, charge it, and then in the morning or whenever you need to focus. So sometimes with COVID and other things, you get this fog brain, and otherwise, you should use the second mode, which is the gamma mode. And the gamma mode is 40 cycles per second, literally just clears things for most people. Again, it's not every single person, but it's a wonderful thing to start. You also need to be on the following. The essentials are a good B complex, 25 to 50 milligrams of most Bs. Youth formula, 4 of those, vitamin C, MSM, raises DHEA, which is going to be crucial for you in your situation. Magnesium topical, and also vitamin D3, 50,000 units weekly. You also want to see if you can find something called N as in Nancy, A apple, C, cat, NAC. The government is trying to make it into a forbidden substance, or in other words, medicine grade. You can still get it. I would say if you can stock up on that as much as you can, do that. And that's a good start. So I hope that answers that gives you a direction.
Okay.
And you're also welcome if you're the wait times are about a couple of months for an appointment, but I'd love to have you set up something at Real Holistic Doc, 417-351-5221.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I did call yesterday, and the girls told me to try to get a hold of you. So this was such a God thing that I got through today. I can't believe
Wonderful.
it.
Wonderful.
But can you tell me really quick, if I do the IV, is it safe enough to go to some of these places that, like the Medi Spas or whatever? Will they have the ozone there?
Yeah, if they have it, just ask about their experience and listen to your gut. There's a couple of people here in town that do this, and there's different quality. So just get a sense, because not everyone who does IV, intravenous vitamin C and ozone, it's not the same. I heard people use the same terms. It doesn't mean the same treatment, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how often do you recommend that I do that?
At least
once or twice a week?
At least once or twice a week, starting with. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Blessings.
Okay, you too. Yeah. God bless. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Take care. And Walt, back to you. Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about mental picture of that goal, and again, for me with the the boat, with the sailboat, I actually immersed myself in it, where I was actually having a mental picture of me on the deck of my boat on a warm day. I could feel the warmth. I could, the heat of the sun. I could hear the seagulls flying around, and the smell of the water was intoxicating. That's how immersed I got myself in it mentally. And when you do that, you get so steeped in that reality that you have about this goal, this dream, that you begin to believe that, you're going to do it. You're going to achieve that dream. You're going to have that boat or have that career or have that relationship or whatever it might be that, you want to create for yourself. So mental picture is very, very important. And once you do that, then the next thing is say it out loud. Don't keep it a secret. Tell your wife about it. Tell your friends, your family. Share it with them, because they want to know. They want to be part of it. And when you say it out loud to anyone who will listen, it becomes a self-affirmation. It reinforces that belief that you have that you're going to achieve it.
And building social networks of support.
Absolutely.
Well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I guess you could, put it on Facebook or Messenger if you want to do that and not be, afraid of the flack that it might create.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about making a commitment. So what you're doing is you're committing to yourself a goal that you see it, you feel it, you smell it, and based upon that, you know you're going to achieve it. So verbalizing is a very important part of it. But I think the most important part, aside from that, is the third part: put it in writing. Put it in writing, make it specific, make it detailed, and date it. What date are you feeling? Are you feeling that date in a year, 2 years, 3 years? What is that picture? Where is it? We know that, but when is it? Write
And
all that down.
perfect. Now, when I see people for consultations, I ask several critical questions, and this is a similar concept. Uh, do you do you want to get better? Do you want to heal? Do you want to make it? Do you really want to change? That's question number one. And that question number two: are you willing to do the work? And question number three: when do you want to start doing the work? Because frequently I talk to people, and if they're not ready to make a decision, I make it real easy for them. I'm just real blunt about those things. If you're not willing to commit, if you want to, tell me how many more decades, how many more years, how many more months or minutes, hours you want to suffer in that situation and continue the same pattern with the same outcome. You want to do it for 10 years, you want to be in prison, self-imposed prison of suffering, enjoy. If you want to stop now, stop that crap now. I mean, literally. But please, let's get back
Yeah,
to
no, it's very important. Certainly having a goal for your health is something I've embraced most of my life. And recently, I'm about 2 months out from a knee replacement, and I had heard from all my friends that had it that were hopping around like they had a bucket on their foot because they didn't do the work. They didn't do the rehab. Well, it'll be okay. It's better than it was. And they can't walk. I mean, they walk with a limp at the very best. And I says, no, my doctor promised me that both my legs be the same length. There'd be no reason why I couldn't walk better than I ever have before with a new, knee into my my leg. And so I had to commit myself to what turned out to be an extremely brutal rehab. But I was prepared for it because mentally I envisioned it. I saw myself getting stronger every day, and I made that commitment to do what it took to be able to walk. And I'm not a young guy anymore. I'm going to be 66 in November, but my trainer told me that I've already broken 3 records, and the length of time it took to reach certain thresholds in my commitment to the therapy. And I'm so excited that I'm going to be able to do anything I want to do. I might not jump out of an airplane, or I might not do all this crazy stuff like that, but I can still, hike a 12,000 foot, mountain carefully, and I can still enjoy my life and not be limited because of health issues. So goals are equally as important for health as they are for business or for something
life.
personal.
Yeah,
and we need to incorporate that into both, because without the quality of life, what is the point of life? I mean, who wants to live as a vegetable with no sense of purpose or reality because they want to keep you alive? That's ridiculous. It's time to go be with the Lord.
Oh my God, absolutely. So this is what we're talking about, and I'm just being as frank as I can here, and that's what I do. I'm just gonna speak my truth. If someone likes it, great. If someone doesn't, again, that's my truth. It's my responsibility to put it out there. We are unlimited human beings. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to believe it. I know it. We are spirit, soul, mind, body. If we accomplish something, it's based on the programming that we created and followed. If we accomplish something good on us. If we accomplish something negative or bad, take a look in the mirror and literally say to yourself, I own this. I own all this crap. I own all this, everything that I created to some degree. I'm not saying, well, I mean, we didn't ask for this economy. We didn't ask for gas prices, but we can respond in different ways. And just because there's pressure from the outside, there's another analogy. How is a diamond created? A diamond is formed under pressure. So this is a wonderful opportunity to go through this crazy, insane times, and in terms of health, in terms of everything, and to say, where is the real inner diamond? Who are we? And how can we learn and grow from this? Because this is a wonderful, amazing lesson otherwise. And we'll continue talking after, after the time, because I don't want to stop this forecast, and we'll go as long as it naturally goes, because I know Robin is giving me that look, but I really want that information out there. And Walt, I just want you to be able to express yourself and just to truly put all this out there. But I do want to say a couple of words first, while we still have a little time on the radio. Is if you're not following us on YouTube Live and Facebook Live, in other words, streaming, you'll be missing a lot of what Walt and I are saying. And plus, there's so much information, previous shows and announcements. So if you like what you're hearing, if you want to support us, sign up. YouTube Live, Facebook Live. Another thing is, I'm going to say this one more time. There's a 15% off on every order over $100, $240 off the EMF. We just talked about it a little earlier. And if you want to stock up on everything essential, especially with the economy and the supply-demand chains, we're still doing okay, but this is really a good opportunity. I personally got about 6 months supply for me, but essentials, youth, magnesium, vitamin D3, and whatever else would be good for you otherwise. Code is July 22, summer sale, and I do want to mention our friends. Well, we have several folks that we really like and enjoy. One is a company, the cherry juice concentrate, 2 teaspoons, and you get your servings of fruits and vegetables. Most Americans are absolutely delinquent. It's terrible. And garbage in equals garbage out. When people feel like crap, well, guess what are we putting in our bodies? Especially if we are on the fast food and all that other nonsense, sad standard American diet, which is, terrible. So wonderful for nutrition, wonderful for energy, and it tastes good and great for inflammation and many other things. And of course, Spring Valley, a place where you can get all of our supplements, but so much more. And wonderful service, wonderful people, small store, but amazing people, amazing support, and they carry everything essential. So thank you for your support to us on that as well. And how much time do we have now before we close?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to jump back into the conversation. And if anybody wants to call in, ask Mr. Walt Cameron a question, or myself, anything goes. And in the meantime, I got 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes. Let's continue talking, and then we're going to continue after the show for those who are on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. And like I said, I want to make sure that this message gets across loud and clear. I heard it. I feel it. I know it in my heart and my soul. And again, what it means to me is my personal understanding, my personal thing. This is a wonderful resource, and Walt is an amazing guy. So please, let's continue.
Well, what I like about Dr. Sorin is, can you hear his passion? Can you hear my passion? Are you getting what we're talking about? Whether we're talking about goals for careers or relationships, or even more importantly, goals for health, it's all part of the same thing and the same process. You have to embrace that, and we're giving you the tools to be able to do that. And it's so important because right now you're in control of your life. You have the decision to make whether it's going to be a good life or a not so good life, whether it's health, whether it's business, whether it's a job, whatever it might be, you are in control. And so you can make the decision based upon what you really want. And if you're not serious about, like Dr. Sorin said, if you're not serious about doing the work that it takes to get healthy or to get a better job, well, then quit kidding yourself and get to a point where you can do that. If you're not there yet, then you're not ready. You're not ready. And nothing can change that until you identify that passion and then pursue it with all that you have, and then find a way to monetize it. And we can help you do that too. But from a holistic standpoint, I believe that what you eat is what you become in so many ways, and the way that you take care of yourself. And the older I get, the more important it is, because I'm tired of burying my friends. I'm tired of hearing about my friends going in for triple bypass surgery. I got a dear friend going in for surgery tomorrow morning for a 40-year smoking habit.
Mhm.
Isn't that terrible?
Oh God, yeah.
And they had to remove one of the lobes out of her lung to be able to save her life and give her a quality of life. And I pray that that happens. But we have to take control of our lives, and that includes our health.
Responsibility. If you take the word and you break it up into several pieces, several roots, ability to respond, responsibility. I have a responsibility over everything Sergey Leo. That's my name. Walt takes responsibility and accountability for everything that's Mr. Walt Cameron. Do you question take responsibility and accountability for the actions and the outcomes? Are you willing to look in the mirror and say, yes, I contributed to that, or I allowed that? Are you willing to take action? That's what we're talking about. And there are 10 steps. We're going to continue talking about this with Walt. But bottom line is, are you willing to do what you need to do to get to where you need to go or you want to go? If not you, who? If not way, if not now, when? And I think there's a few more things on that. But responsibility, decision time, that's what it's all about. That's what holism is all about. I can only help a person who wants to be helped. I've been asked this multiple times. Most of my clients and patients are referrals, and so I mean, the practice has been filling up. And the common question is, I have a family member, I have a friend who doesn't really want to take care of themselves. What can we do? Nothing. Nothing until they decide they're worth it. That's it. All right, we'll be back in next week, and stay tuned. And again, one more time, there is a 15% sale on all orders over $100 at Real Holistic Doc. Code is July 22, and including PEMF, $240 off. So if you're interested, this is a good time to jump in, and we're going to continue to stay on after this, and let's cover a few more points. I know it's going to be impossible to cover everything, but let's get
Oh, yeah. Well, one step at a time.
one step at a time. Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
People are thinking about this.
Well, if we can start a conversation, it all starts with a question, doesn't it? And at some point, actually, would you mind if we would jump into the listeners and see what the online any questions?
Hasn't been any.
Hasn't been any, so I guess we just blew everybody's minds away, huh?
Yeah. I mean, just people saying that this is good and
Oh, okay.
good conversation, but no questions about anything.
Yeah.
All right. And if there's anything that comes through as we're talking, especially for Walt, because he is literally an expert in this, and he's an expert in what in America, what the country has come to be, how it evolved, and actually, I would love to talk about some parallels. And this is part of the book, but I think people need to be reminded that there's been crises of even bigger proportions facing America
Well,
earlier.
there have been since
Previously.
1796, yeah.
Let's talk
all
about
the,
some of that. Yeah. So, and we're still here. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So, are we?
Let me check on your,
18.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, fascinating topic, but please take it away, Walt. Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, hopefully we've stirred some interest, finding some passion out there, making a commitment to goals. And remember, you've got to think about it. You've got to visualize it, but most importantly, you've got to put it in writing. If it's not in writing, it's not a goal. It's just a thought.
Indeed. Let's talk about, well, that reminds me, and I believe there, crises in American history and the cycles. At one point, there was almost a crash of the currency system. Almost.
Well,
Or several crashes, as a matter of fact.
would you believe that J.P. Morgan, back at the turn of the century, probably the wealthiest man in the world at that time, had to bail out the government because they had no money, and he had to make a loan to the U.S. I think it's the only time it's ever happened, as I recall. But and this was when they were setting up, different organizations. They were fighting antitrust because 3 or 4 key people were basically running the country. Rockefeller and all the big industrialists. Vanderbilt, all those guys.
Yep. And
They
by
were
the way,
running the country because they had so much wealth.
and they the same people who literally took down the holistic or the so-called integrative approach, literally, because that was a competition. But yeah, so this is not the first time that America has been going through hard times.
No. We have a history of that. We also have a history of recovering and being better than before. That's also our history. I expect the same thing to happen now.
But in order for that to happen, there has to be action. There has to be commitment,
That's
desire, passion, and interest in making a positive change. Because otherwise, same as in health, and I can talk about the medical part of it, but I think this pattern is universal. If you continue in the same pattern, keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, guess what? Not going to happen. Complete definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And literally, I think that's what it comes down to.
That's right. That's nuts.
And Walt, you got the floor. Anything else you want to say for a while, or if you're good?
No,
Yeah.
just it's always fun being on the show. I enjoy talking to folks out there that are thinking the same thoughts that I am, and if I can help you, take a step in a positive direction to make a decision, start a better path for yourself, that's wonderful. That's great. And if not, hey, that's okay. You still got some time, and you can still decide what you want to do because the ultimate decision is yours to do. And you've got to take that responsibility, take it seriously. On the other hand, I can tell you it's a lot more fun being on this end when you've got something that you're passionate about, that you're doing, when you've got a wonderful life and a wonderful family. God is good, God is great, and you can be in the same situation just by making a few small decisions about where you want to be going forward.
Do you want to let people know how they can get a hold of you or find out more about the book?
Yeah, probably the best thing to do would just be go to ouramericandreamshow.com, ouramericandreamshow.com. That's got lots of good information on it. You can look me up on LinkedIn. I've got a lot of content, a lot of videos and things that I've done, and you might get some interest out of that. LinkedIn is probably the best professional platform in the world, in my opinion, and we get a lot of contacts from people that way. So feel free to do that too.
And I do want to say thank you for being here. One of the things that I really, truly, well, many things that I admire is that a lot of wisdom, a lot of great things and qualities that in other words, to put it in a simple terms, Walt, you've been a mentor to me ever since we got to know each other, and I'm learning on many different levels. I'm always learning something.
When you stop learning, it's time to take me home.
Exactly, and so it's been a great influence in my life. I hope this will help you in your life. And
Absolutely.
yeah, take care. Have a blessed day. See you next week.